This is The Gorge, a podcast where Ben and Sara gorge themselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. This week, we are talking about Fallout 4 for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/thegorgepodcast. Donate or share the link, spread the word. Everything you donate goes straight to keeping the podcast running smoothly. You pay for our Libsyn subscription. You pay for our SoundCloud subscription. At $5 donations, we give you a shout out on the podcast. If you have your own podcast, if you have your own project, YouTube channel, Kickstarter, whatever, we'll give you a shout out. Not just a shout out, we will actually look into it and make sure you get a reasonably sized pitch for your thing. And at $20, we give you a custom made t-shirt, the Gorge Podcast t-shirt, based on the logo designs that Sara herself made.
And hopefully eventually we'll be doing like once every 6 months you get a new one.
Yep.
Like a new design and stuff, once I actually start thinking about designs that aren't just the logo.
Yeah, around like 2 t-shirts a year, basically, for donating at the $20 amount.
If we get more Patreon subscribers, we'll probably do more t-shirts.
Yeah. For sure. That might, as that grows, that might even turn into, instead of being a donation thing, it might turn into a store. Who knows? That'll happen when it happens. Our kick-ass new intro is
oh my god, it's so cool.
It's so great. Is brought to you by Zach235. Link to his SoundCloud will be in the podcast description. We'll also be posting on him about Twitter all the time. He is great. He was awesome to work with. He gave us exactly what we wanted. We couldn't be happier with his work.
We sound super cool now. I feel like we are so professional.
We are. We've got so much going on now.
Can't believe it.
We are really, stepping up our podcast game, and I feel really happy with that.
Because we want to be professional video game talker people.
Yeah.
Damn it. I play enough video games that I figure why not invest enough time into this fucking podcast, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, what are we doing, Benjamin?
We're talking about Fallout 4 again, and
for the third time.
Not just talking about how much we liked Far Harbor or Nuka World. We're talking about this time about how much the things that maybe Fallout 4 didn't do so hot on.
You mean the fact that Fallout 4's main quest is fucking garbage?
Yes, exactly that exact sentiment.
It's fucking garbage.
It is not a good main, which is because, there are a ton of great quests in this game. There are a lot of, smaller scale quests, and like we said, Nuka World and Far Harbor are both great.
Really, honestly, if I could, own Nuka World and Far Harbor, on their own, I would. If I could somehow not buy Fallout 4 and just play, Far Harbor, I probably would, because I like Far Harbor that much. Its atmosphere and writing is just that much better. It boggles. I refuse to believe. I also have such a deep-seated vitriol for Emil Pagliarulo. I just think he's shit garbage as a writer. And I'll fucking fight him 100%. I would fight Emil Pagliarulo in a parking lot. I have such vitriol for him that I refuse to believe he is even remotely responsible for Far Harbor. You know what I mean?
It really, yeah. But it feels like it was written by someone completely different.
It totally does. And if it's somebody was oh no, he wrote Far Harbor, I wouldn't believe you.
I would believe that he went to a few writing classes in the interim.
Yeah, or that he had a script doctor or something. Somebody actually sat him down and went this is how you write a Fallout game, Emil. Because he's the only writer at Bethesda Game Studios right now, as in the Bethesda, not Arcane, who did Prey, and they did Dishonored, because obviously they have more writers than they know what to do with, which is why Dishonored is so crammed with lore. they only have, like, really quest designers at Bethesda, and most of their quests are also shit garbage. So, I really don't know what those people at Bethesda are getting paid for. There's a really super, super good YouTuber out there that I'm, like, obsessed with, named Joseph Anderson. If you want, like, a really good breakdown of Fallout 4, you should listen to both of his videos. He has a theory that the quests in Fallout 4 were, put in a hat. Like, everybody wrote down their ideas for quests, and then they put them in a hat, and then those people pull, you know, like, the actual quest designers pulled the quest out of the hat, and then they made it fit this, like, really boring, quest structure that all of Fallout 4 is centered around. And, like, once somebody tells you, like, the Fallout 4 quest structure, it kind of ruins Fallout 4 for you, unless you have, like, a, like mods, like good mods.
Yeah.
You know, like otherwise it'll just ruin Fallout 4. And I'm gonna ruin Fallout 4 for all of you right now. Fallout 4's entirety is this. You go to a place, so it's exploration. You clear out the place, so it's gunplay. And then you loot the place, so you're collecting all the shit garbage in the building, right? That's it.
That's it.
Fallout
Yep.
4 is entirely built around that cycle. And once you notice it, you can't stop noticing it. So there, I've put that curse on all of you. Next time you want to try and, like, tell me that, like, a quest in... Like, there's only one good... Like, there's, like, 3 good quests-ish in, like, vanilla Fallout 4, and it's the, Cabot quest line, because that's really good, even though it's kind of the same, like, thing of go here, kill these dudes, come back. But I just think, like, the concept around it is really interesting. There's the USS Constitution, which is, like, fun. Because it has different factions and a little bit of world building. Holy shit. And, I know there's a third one. Hold on.
I'm waiting.
I've played this game enough. Let me think. Oh my god. I can't think of one right now. I've also had a few drinks, so I really can't think of one right now. So what we're doing today is...
We're gonna fix it. We're gonna make it better.
Fix it.
Yeah,
we're gonna workshop Fallout 4.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, I still sank, like, over 200 hours into it. So, I had fun.
I've put over 500 and something hours into Fallout 4. Probably more. Like, it's shameful how much time because, like, the base of Fallout 4 is really fucking good. Like, they finally have serviceable gameplay, which just helps immensely. Like, I really want to replay, like, New Vegas now that I want to play a Fallout game with some good-ass writing. But the thought of playing New Vegas with its garbage fucking gameplay makes me want to, like, kill myself. So I'll probably play it with, like, a ton of mods to make it even somewhat doable, hopefully. We'll see. But no, Fallout 4 is, what did we call it once? Video game comfort food?
Yeah, it is just, like... not even comfort food. It's video game junk food. It is bad for you, and it is not healthy. But you know what?
Food.
It's super tasty, and
you
enjoy yourself while you're experiencing it.
And then when you're done, you know that feeling after you've eaten a ton of junk food because it tastes great going down, but then you're, like, laying on your couch and you've eaten a whole pizza on your own and you hate yourself. That's kind of how playing Fallout 4's main quest feels like. Fallout
4 is like drinking too much.
It totally is! Oh man, I know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. It totally is like drinking way too much. When you're laying on the you're kind of have the same feeling. You're laying on the couch, staring at your TV, thinking, God, I'll never do that again. Just make it better.
So we are going to try to make this a more palatable experience, and
yes.
Because there are some good parts about the main quest line, but they get overtaken by the poorly written parts, and there is a serviceable main quest underneath all this.
There is like a skeleton of a good plot in Fallout 4 because there's kind of the I don't know. Fallout 4 really obviously tried to kind of crib from New Vegas without understanding what made New Vegas great. So it was just kind of like they were like, well, we'll have these different factions fighting for this resource and stuff like that. But then they didn't kind of understand everything else that made New Vegas what it was. Especially the fact that they couldn't do decent fucking DLC. I mean, they did 2 good packs of DLC, but fucking New Vegas had like, what, 4? 5? Something like that?
New Vegas had, like, 5, like, story DLC packs.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna fight Todd Howard. I will fight Todd Howard. So yeah, we're gonna workshop it. Basically the rule is, Ben, we have to, and we've talked about this a little bit, but the rule for all of you fine listeners at home is that you can't completely remove everything about Fallout 4 that makes it Fallout 4. It has to have the skeleton of Fallout 4 and all of its plot elements, but you just gotta make it better.
Yeah, there is. We have to keep the basic core premise. We can't just completely rewrite it, and so we have to. This is fixing it. This is not replacing it.
Right. So that's for other games down the line. Eyebrow waggle.
Yeah. So I divided this up into plot. So the main quest. There are also a few tweaks to do to the gameplay aspect.
Right.
And then there are a few things for the overall lore of it, which is stuff that's not quite related to the plot, but need to be fixed within the world to make it more consistent with previous Fallouts and compatible with the identity of the franchise. Yeah.
So we had this idea of elevator pitches for the main plot. So did you come up with one? Did you? Because I had like the ghost of one.
I mean, besides the stuff that we've already kind of discussed off mic, just the idea of, if I had to pitch this to someone, I would say that Fallout 4 is a game about someone, it's a cross between the story of Rip Van Winkle and the Revolutionary War. And it is a character, who sleeps through the apocalypse.
Right.
And then awakens in a post-apocalyptic world that is being... The freedom of the survivors is being threatened by a sort of oppressive, like, governmental or, like, controlling force that threatens to overtake them.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, I feel that. I think my one thing is... and we'll kind of talk about it more extensively. The one thing I feel like Fallout 4 needs to do, other than the really obvious things, is I think it would have been an interesting twist to have the main character be a synth, so that all of this fish out of water stuff still applies, but not for the reasons you think, and it would be kind of like a moment of like, wait, like this guy... Yeah, I mean, you can think about it after a while. Once you hit like level 60 in Fallout 4, your character is like an unstoppable god.
Right.
So like, let's have like a crazy hand-wavy reason for why that is, because you're some sort of crazy next-gen synth. But if that's not the case, that's fine. So, what's our first bullet point?
The first bullet point on the notes is what you do to fix one of the most important things about Fallout 4 is you take the baby, the baby that is central to the entire plot line that kind of guides the player. Okay, you take that baby and you throw that baby in the garbage.
You put that baby in the fucking trash.
Yeah, that baby.
The baby goes in the trash can.
Yeah, the baby goes in the trash can. You close the lid. You take the trash can out to the road, and the garbage truck comes and picks it up, and it takes the baby away forever.
And then the baby goes to a landfill, and we never hear about the baby ever again, ever.
The baby is completely removed from the game entirely. Because the baby, Sean, completely destroys the thing that makes Fallout, which is any real doting parent who cares about the well-being of their child would not dick around in a post-apocalyptic world when their baby is being held captive. Everything that person does would be to save the baby. We've seen Taken.
Yes.
Liam Neeson didn't, mess around with some drugs and hang out with a detective
And build houses for 700 hours.
He murdered everyone who was in the way of getting his daughter back.
Right, yeah, like that's yeah. It's so insane to me. It's so insane to me that, like... And, I mean, there are so many reasons why the baby plot line sucks. It's not just the fact that, like, Fallout is built around, like, tottering around and doing your fucking thing, and, you know, that's completely counterintuitive to the idea of you are concerned... And if it was, like, if there was no voice... The other thing is that the character voice blows and needs to go. But if you weren't, like, a voiced character, you could maybe play this off as you're just a shitty parent.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But the problem is that every single time you talk about the baby in conversations, it's like the protag voices get super weepy. They're like, oh, my baby! And then, like, I just spent, 40 hours building houses in Sanctuary. Yeah. Are you really that worried about your baby? When
you design an open world game, you obviously need to have, like, a looming threat that needs to be dealt with.
Right.
But when you design this, you have to design it in a way that encourages the player to take their time and build up. You need to be like, okay, the monster is going to come out, but it won't come out until we gather all the gems.
Yeah.
So between then and now, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can fucking goof off and, like I said, build houses and take drugs and run around with a detective as much as you fucking want. But, like, the baby is so stupid. There's so many ways they could have done it without a fucking baby. Because, again, it also kills, like, role-playing. Like, there's really only one person you can play in Fallout 4, and it's,
that is
worried
parent.
Yeah, it's worried parent, and that sucks. It's just really shitty.
Which is another, something that we can get to in a bit, but I kind of want to keep this sort of, like, in a order. The thing is, the baby also serves as sort of like a tie to the main plot. Obviously, spoilers.
What?
The baby ends up being Father, the leader of the Institute, because you were woken 60 years, and then they took the baby, and then 60 years later, you got out of the vault, and so Father is an old man, and that's sort of like your tie to the Institute. But the thing is, you don't really need a personal tie to the villain of the game. Like, that's not really necessary to tell a good story. You can just have them be an oppressive thing. The personal connection can be something as simple as they came to Vault 111 to steal genetic material, and maybe they're the ones who triggered the cryogenics failure and killed your town.
Hey, hold on. We might have to stop recording. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay, sorry about that, everyone. We should be back now.
Just a connection hiccup. But, yeah.
Okay, so, like I was saying, is that, like, the idea of Father being, like, your son is a plot line that we don't necessarily need to tell a story, partially because, we're supposed to be role-playing our own character. If this was like a narratively driven thing where you have a pre-established character, for instance, Star Wars, the Father twist there worked really well because Luke is an established character already. But in Fallout, you're playing a character, and you're supposed to kind of design the character as you see fit. So it should be up to the player to make the connection to the villain that they want, and you could be given the baseline of, hey, this guy shut down the cryogenics on your vault, and he killed your neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's enough of a reason to, like, want to, fuck up this guy's day. It is a baseline reason, and it could be up to the player to establish that for the character. Right.
Of why this is important, and you can do that through incidental dialogue, or prompts you choose, or whatever, or even just your own extrapolation of the character. Part of the fun of New Vegas is that, like, your character is not given a backstory. It is all up to you to decide where your character came from.
Right, like the courier is entirely a blank slate, like 1,000%. There is no assigned personality to the courier. It's just whatever you give them, and their backstory is whatever you want it to be. If you want to be a grandma who is delivering, messages in the New Vegas or in the Mojave Outback, then cool, you're a grandma who is delivering messages in the Mojave Outback.
Yeah.
And in Fallout 4, you just really don't have that option,
Yeah, you are tied to this established backstory, and you don't get, and even that point, they don't even have a whole lot of like pre-war dialogue for the character to be like, oh, well, I remember back in the old days, it was, this happened, or blah. You get a little bit of that. You get the fun conversation about baseball, or talking about the silver, what's it? Silver Shroud, yeah. But, if you're going to give us a pre-war character like this, you need to lean into it more.
Or go total blank again.
Yeah, or blank slate and let us extrapolate as we please. And so, ultimately this all ties to the fact that the baby is more or less this giant plot tumor that we all have to deal with and is not handled very well. And honestly, the best way to do it is to remove it and to generalize the Institute's threat. Because, another thing is that one of the nice things about... one of the most irritating things about a villain is, when they tell the hero it's just business.
Right, yeah.
As an audience, that's infuriating. So the idea of, they didn't have a direct personal reason to infiltrate this vault. They didn't have a personal tie to the hero. They ruined the hero's life. Right. They killed everyone the hero group, knows in their neighborhood. And they don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
They're using, instead of using the baby as a blueprint for Gen 3 synths, you could take it from the entire population of Sanctuary Hills.
Yeah.
And that also leads to, hey, now you have a wide variety of genetic material, blah, 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 50s tech to make your robot clones with.
Right, exactly. 50s tech is a good way to, it's such a weird thing that they keep insisting on this idea that their clone source has to be somebody who's, genetically pure and never exposed to radiation ever. And, okay, sure, I guess, but, I don't know, that just really, why not? Again, it's 50s tech, why not just hand wave that away? And I don't understand the baby. I really don't.
Yeah, it all ties back to the fact that, you need the baby is not... The idea of it, you want it to be genetically pure. I get that, because, that is, hey, they're kind of not Nazi-ish a bit about it,
Yeah.
That's the whole genetic purity thing that is universally hated as a villain thing, know? So, that I get that part of it, but it doesn't need to be a baby. It can be in this entire town that they, capture or they kill, for their genetic material, and you're the only survivor, or, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't need to be a baby.
Yeah, exactly. And again, also the idea is there was only one single baby in the entirety of Sanctuary Hills.
Right, yeah. Nobody else had kids, really? I guess it's because, Bethesda didn't want to, kill children, but whatever, it's still... so stupid.
There were still kids in the neighborhood that still died.
But I don't think... even in the flashbacky bit at the beginning of the game, I don't think there are any kids in Sanctuary Hills.
I think there's a few kid models running around.
Are there?
I think so. And then we don't see them in the pods.
It's so stupid because the whole point of the suburbs was that you go out there and you make babies and shit. So nobody else in all of Sanctuary Hills had a baby.
Yeah.
Really? Oh my god. The more you think the more you think about it, the worse it gets, It's one of those things where you spend 5 minutes thinking about it, you go, hey, wait a minute.
That's stupid. Yeah. You didn't notice it, but your brain did.
Your brain did notice. After a while, you go holy shit, wait a minute.
It's like that thing where it's kind of you're playing a Grand Theft Auto game and you're like, hey, there are no kids in this Grand Theft Auto game. Then you think, it makes sense why, but you're like, it takes you a couple dozen hours to actually notice that for the first time.
Exactly. It's stupid.
There is another sticking point in this game, and I think it's this is not so much of a like a plot tumor like the baby is, but this is something that like I would categorize more as missed potential. Mm-hmm. And that is, this game lets you design your spouse and then kills them
immediately.
Yeah. Immediately. And so this is kind of the second point I want to talk about. And I think, for one thing, the idea of your player character being a pre-war person that is frozen cryogenically and comes back, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I have no problem with the pre-war aspect at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
the whole fish out of water aspect is like part of Fallout. You know, either you were in Fallout 1, you were a vault dweller who comes out. In Fallout 2, you're part of a tribe that is kind of isolated, and then you come out into the world. In 3, you're a vault, same thing, you're a vault dweller and you come out into the world. So this is like the ultimate ideal of it, is that you are not even someone who has any idea that the war even happened.
Right.
You know, you're waking up 200 years later into this total apocalypse that you're just thrown into.
Yeah.
That's fine. But you're given this half-established backstory of being married and having a baby, and
here's my sticking point too. One of my like major sticking points is like the established finger quotes backstories for the two soul survivors, like for Nate and Nora. Is like Nate's backstory does this great job of explaining like why you're immediately good with a gun and why you know how to use power armor and all of this shit. And Nora's is that she's a lawyer.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. It's ridiculous. Like, why even bother giving the character like those little hints of backstory? Because at that point it just gets stupid. Like, if you had not given any kind of hints of backstory to either character, like to either like gender version of the soul survivor, then like you can at least project the tiniest bit onto this character who's already like an established person, that they're in the military, that it establishes that you live in the suburbs, you have a baby, like those are, you live in the suburbs in a time when like inflation is crazy and you have a car and all of this insane shit, but you can still afford it. Those are like character establishing things. And they could have left it at that, and then you could have filled in the blanks and said, well, they do this, or they do that, But then they went, like, that step further to just really keep shitting all over, like, what makes Fallout. And they had to give the two player characters these really specific backstories. They're just completely extraneous, and we didn't need them. And it kind of does this shitty thing where it makes it obvious that, like the male soul survivor is the, like,
was supposed to be like the default,
Yeah, and because the intro is from his perspective too. Like the whole game is based around the fact that you're kind of supposed to play as the male soul survivor.
As Nate, yeah.
Bullshit. Because like again, that's not what Fallout is. Like Fallout is
right.
Like you keep it as gender neutral and like totally blank as possible. Because even like there are caveats that come with the backstories of the Fallout games that do this right. Other than New Vegas, because New Vegas does it flawlessly. Like, you have small character-defining things that are outside of your control in 1, 2, and 3. You're a vault dweller, you're you're the grand kid of the person from Fallout 1. And
Fallout, part of the problem with Fallout 2 is kind of the same thing, which is, like, this game establishes that the vault dweller from 1 was a male, and, and this happened and these characters died in this way, and you can read that, and that also kind of ruins the aspect of it, but, like, that ruins it for the sequel. This automatically ruins your chance of, like, really role-playing the game, because you're given an established backstory for a character you haven't built yet.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't... So it's like, even if you kept the baby stuff, which we're not keeping the baby stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you kept the baby stuff, then it could still be like, well, you could say that someone is a shitty mom, or a shitty dad, or they did some fucked up... They were they could afford a house and a car in the suburbs because they were doing, like, organized crime shit.
Yeah.
No, they're a lawyer and a soldier, and that's...
Yeah, and...
Bethesda didn't even give you the courtesy of coming up with your own fucking backstory.
And what really bothers me about it is that there's such an easy way to fix it. Mm-hmm. Which is that one of the first things you do in the game is that you are interviewed for your qualifications for a pass into Vault 111.
Yeah.
And you use this to establish your stats and your name for the character. You could have embellished on this, and you could have given us a chance right then and there to establish the character's backstory and therefore establish what they're good at and what they're bad at. Kind of like the GOAT in 3.
Honestly, the best example is Mass Effect. You know?
Yeah.
Like, Mass Effect has backstories you can pick, and I think that if Bethesda has such a raging hard-on for this idea of, like, you can't just be whatever the fuck you want to be, because I guess they just want to spite what Fallout is, then at least, like, give us a few options. Don't just saddle us with one. Do it the way Mass Effect did, where you could pick, like, 3, and then everything that came with those 3 backstories had their own quests attached, had their own baggage attached, had their own characters attached, and you could extrapolate your fucking backstory of these characters as much as you want.
Picking your backstory in Mass Effect not only gave you a personalized quest for that character, depending on what you picked, it also, helped towards whether you lean towards Paragon or Renegade or Neutral. It gave you more incidental dialogue, and it would be so easy to have the Vault-Tec rep be like, oh, and so what did you do? And you can pick, oh, I was a surgeon, or I was a soldier, or I was a lawyer, whatever. All these, career paths you could pick, and that's like, okay, well, the game will internalize that as, okay, you're a lawyer. All right, well, you're good at speech checks now, and you have more dialogue options that you can use to, like, neutralize people. Or if you picked a soldier, then you're better with weapons and you can repair power armor more easily for less materials or whatever.
But that would require Bethesda doing perk checks, which we all know they fucking hate.
I know, because they weren't in it.
Lazy. There's so much about Fallout 4 that's just lazy.
Yeah, and so, tying that back to the, laziness of being where we designed a character that you can customize, which one of the things Fallout 4 does right is, oh my god, the character creator is one of the best I've ever seen.
Oh my god, it's so
Holy
good.
Shit, it's
right?
great.
Holy
it's
shit,
fucking incredible.
Amazing. You can actually make attractive characters in video games, or you can make them fucking hideous in the final payout if you want.
Yeah, there's so, like, and what's great is, like, think about stuff like the final PAM, like, they built that with all in-game stuff, no mods or anything. It's just, you can design fucking anything with this, and it's amazing. So, that's great, and so you're given the chance to design both of them. You're not locked into one character, and you're given a default model for the opposite gender.
Right.
So, what you need to do with that is make the opposite gender, whether you play as Nate, make Nora. If you play as Nora, make Nate. Have them live.
Yeah, let them be a companion. You have a whole game full of, like, a bunch of honest-to-God mediocre companions. We'll get to that. But, like, there's only, like, 3 companions in the whole game. They're actually worth a shit. So you have a bunch of mediocre companions, but you couldn't, like, make the opposite gender character that you designed at the beginning of the game, like, a playable, or, like, a person who could come with you and might also have stakes in this story. Like, you... Yeah.
And, there's something I didn't write down in the notes, but I think it's a really great idea, is that instead of the opposite gender character being your spouse, when you are being interviewed by the Vault-Tec rep, you can select either they're your roommate, or maybe they're just a friend who, is over for that particular day.
They're your sister or your wife.
Yeah, or they are your spouse. Yeah. And, something like, well, if you select they're the spouse, then you're locked into that relationship and you can't pursue a relationship with the rest of the characters. Right. Or you can pick roommate and then you can develop, to choose to romance them throughout the game. Character choice.
I know, it's like what Fallout
options.
is. Options.
Backstory picking.
And again, it goes back to this whole idea of, like, if Bethesda is so loath to the idea of letting your character be, like, literally whatever if they just hate the idea at some basic conceptual level, like, fuck if I know why, but whatever. If they hate the idea of going full New Vegas and they want to make you have a character, at least give us a few options, for fuck's sake. It's literally Mass Effect showed us years ago. It's not... The problem is that Mass Effect... The first Mass Effect trilogy is... I mean, honestly, even with its shitty ending, is a really goddamn good series, okay?
Yeah.
And because of it, like, they set the bar really high, even back in the day. Like, if you want to do the whole locked-in backstory thing, then at least give us a handful of options to let us feel some sort of sense that we have a control over the kind of character we're making.
Even though Mass Effect is a fairly straightforward plot, and even though you are kind of locked into a predisposition of doing certain tasks, you are given so much freedom to design your Shepard to do whatever you want for those actions.
Yeah.
You can select their dialogue options. You can select the way they react to situations. You can, do Paragon or Renegade interrupt. You have all these options to really flesh out the character in a way that is like, even if you are given a very straightforward plot, you still have a way to have your character react to those situations. And that's what I think really is some of the best versions of role-playing, is not so much being the proactive, like, choices that you make, but how you get to make your character react to things that technically are out of you as the player character, out of your players, out of your control.
Right, yeah. Like, the reaction is kind of what defines what this character is. I mean, like, all the funny dialogue choices in New Vegas are just your character reacting to shit. You know? Like it kind of harkens back to, whenever you play Dungeons and Dragons or something, and the basic core tenet of a good DM is describing the situation and then saying, what do you do? Right, yeah. That's what D&D is like RPGs. I mean, obviously. Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm saying, like, a really stupid thing when I say that, but, like, D&D is RPGs, and so, like, you should approach it the way a dungeon master would, where it's like, here's the plot, and you've got to... but how do you react to it, and how do you react to the situation?
Right. And so what it is that Bethesda wanted to streamline their progress for Fallout. They wanted to make it, more focused, which, again, like, we said before, it's that alone, it's fine. Mass Effect does it. Lots of other role-playing games do that sort of thing. But what Fallout 4 did is it streamlined the wrong thing. Oh my god. Which is it gave us the open world, but it locked us into a very narrow character. And it's so boring. Instead of giving us a narrow, straightforward plot with tons of ways to react to situations. Yeah. And I mean, it all comes up again back to the voice protagonist, which has got to die. That's the other thing that, like, needs to go ASAP is, and I think even Todd Howard admitted, like, in a recent interview, he was like, okay, well, maybe the voice protagonist and the 4 dialogue options was a bad idea. Now, here's the thing, is that one more thing I wanted to cover before we branch out to the voice protagonist. I want to cover one more plot point for the opposite gender character, which is, if you have them live and you have them be a companion you can recruit fairly early on, or whatever late in the game, they are your tie to the pre-world world, not the baby. They can serve as your character. The opposite gender character now serves as a way for your character to reminisce about the past, to flesh out their own backstory more by having conversations and building up their social link. Their social link, pretty much. Like, So that's that's it. Is that it would be way better if, instead of trying to find a baby, you were out for revenge. You and your friend / spouse / whatever, sister, whatever you want to make it. If it was less about rescuing a kidnapped child and more about getting revenge for your town being slaughtered. Which, hey, your town was killed off in the beginning. That's RPG 101.
It really is. Like, all these, like, everybody
The villain kills your hometown.
Yeah.
The villain burns your hometown down. Go fight him.
Go fuck him up because he wronged you. That's like literally Final Fantasy 1 shit. Come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, on the subject of the voice protagonist, I think I think on its own, the voice protagonist is not a bad thing. And I think, despite it being very much shot, reverse shot, dialogue back and forth between two characters, I mean, Mass Effect did that.
Yeah.
Did that exact same thing. But, so that's not alone. The problem is that Bethesda didn't go far enough. And I think if Bethesda does make Fallout 5, and they do expand on this, I don't want them to abandon the voice protagonist. And I think the reason about that is that one of the things they did right, compared to Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, is that by having a voice protagonist, and setting it up the shot, reverse shot, you get to see your character more often.
Yeah, and I like
Which
that.
is like, there really is no reason for you to customize your appearance in 3 in New Vegas, because you're never gonna fucking see him.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and I like that, but at the same time, I fucking hate it. Like, I hate the whole... Like, I think the voice is such a... It's another character establishing thing. You know? It's another, you can only play... You know... If you want to play a fucking raider bitch from hell... Cool, except then she opens her mouth and it's nice 50s house mom.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, and I think the best way to fix that is, hey, spend the money, hire 2 or 3 voice actors.
They won't spend the money on it. I mean, that's the other thing. And the other thing is that the money that would be spent, if you only hired 1 voice actor, well, then they would also have to keep the whole 4 dialogue options thing, which has to die. I mean, if you change nothing about Fallout 4 except the fact that you kill the 4 dialogue options and bring it back to normal old, here's a list of choices of variously clever written lines, pick one, that's, like, way better. And that lets you, like, actually be whoever the fuck you want to be. Because the problem is that with Fallout 4, a lot of this, like, 4 dialogue option shit, if you play the game with, like, let you see what your character is gonna say mod, a lot of those voice options are basically the same thing 4 times. You know, there's there's yes, there's yes but more information, there's sarcastic yes, and there's no but really yes.
Yeah, and, that all just ties into they didn't structure it properly at all.
No.
Again, compared to Mass Effect, which actually does give you a lot more, despite having more or less the same amount of options, like, they branch out their dialogue menus.
Yeah, you can actually select more than just 4 options in Mass Effect. You can select, like, the base is 6, but there's also, like, on every Mass Effect dialogue wheel ever, if you're, like, having a conversation about a lot of stuff, there's also a more options button that you can click, and it'll give you, surprise, surprise, more options.
So that's... that's if they go back to a silent protagonist, what they do need to do is then add, I don't know, more cutscenes or whatever to let us see our character more often, because again, they did such a good job with the create a character in 4.
Yeah.
That I want to see my character.
I do want to see my character, but I mean that's kind of what VATS is for. You can see your character in VATS, I guess. It's just like seeing my character is not... I mean, like, the creative character is so good, for sure, but I just think that seeing my character is low priority.
Here is one thing I will say, though, is that I'm playing Wolfenstein right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Wolfenstein does the... Here is your cutscene where your Half-Life style, which is... you're just seeing it and you can kind of walk around the environment while the characters are talking around you. Mm-hmm. And then it also occasionally does, like, full-on cinematic cutscenes. Just, hey, we're going to trigger that. And I think, really, considering the amount of issues that Fallout has with having conversations in the middle of the environment when something can potentially attack you mid-conversation...
Right, yeah.
And considering Wolfenstein and Dishonored and are all made by Bethesda as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can transplant certain like scenes in the next Fallout to full-on cinematic cutscenes and just give us that at least.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, that I just think that that's like an easy way to get around again more problems of like, you know, of their conversation styles.
Yeah, I mean, that it's definitely the easiest way to fix the problem, to just like let you see your character more often.
Yeah, and so because I think that adds a whole lot to actually trying to roleplay, is that I don't, you know, maybe it's just me, but when I roleplay a character, I don't I don't make myself.
Yeah.
You know, I make a character that I think would be fun to play as. I don't make Ben, I make a guy that I want to try new things with.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think most people, at least I hope most people do that. I feel like maybe most people playing Bethesda games these days don't do that because, you know, Bethesda's new market is garbage. But, yeah, I totally get what you're saying, for sure, because it's just like, I want to be able to see... I don't know, I don't really know what the answer is there, because I don't like I don't mind the idea of actual cutscenes in a Fallout game, but... I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's like, I mean, but I'm not a game developer. This isn't my job to like know these answers.
Yeah. We're just spitballing ideas here, basically.
And
we're just trying to figure out
better than what's in Fallout 4.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the best way to satisfy people who, you know, have had common gripes about issues like this. And I think the best way...
I guess the answer is, like, just go back to freezing time in conversations, you know?
Yeah, you know, that also helps for sure, because, yeah, that was a great way to fix that. But I also think that, like, it would... having, like, an actual... like, not every time, but having the occasional cut, you know... It's, you know, kind of like Tales games and animated cutscenes. They're not all over the place, but, like, if something important is happening, we're going to see it in a cutscene, you know, animated.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that does make sense, because again, I hate to keep referencing Mass Effect, but goddamn, did Mass Effect do it right or what? The occasional, like, real-ass cutscene where it's, like, an action set piece and you can actually see your Shepard doing things and looking like a badass is pretty cool. Yeah.
You know, and there are even games like, hey, Deus Ex, which is fairly open world.
Yeah, it's
you know,
like a limited open world. It's pretty like a
yeah.
hub.
You were given.
World.
Yeah, you are given the freedom to, you know, approach things as you choose, and then every so often Jensen will walk up to a terminal and you'll get a full-on cinematic cutscene of a guy sneaking up on him and having a full conversation and camera cuts and all that. And, like, you can do that, and you can also do that with a creative character, because I know it's possible, because Dark Souls does it, and Bloodborne does it.
Yeah.
You know, so... this is all possible to do, and I wish that it would happen so that we get a chance to see our cool character and not just only see them in VATS. Like,
right. Or in third-person mode,
things.
Which sucks in Bethesda games always.
Which no one ever picks anyway.
Nobody ever plays Bethesda in third-person mode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's... ultimately, that's just, like, the voice protagonist thing, or, like, the idea of that they handled it very poorly. It can be done right. There are tons of methods to do it right. They literally picked the one that works the least well.
Yeah, they definitely picked the worst. I am like the most in favor of going back to a silent protagonist.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it just works the best in this setting to let you do and be whatever you want. Otherwise, like the second best option is don't be so fucking cheap. You have a ton of money. You're fucking Bethesda. Right. Record some more lines, you know?
Yeah. Ultimately, the easiest way to fix it without doing anything, you know, without the least amount of work to do it extra, is to pay your voice actors more money and write some more goddamn dialogue and have them say it into a microphone.
Yeah. Just record a bunch of fucking dialogue options. It's not hard. Like, not every single encounter needs 40 different dialogue options.
You know what?
But every now and then...
That's it. You cracked the case. Okay?
Yes.
for stuff like Radiant quests or like incidental whatever dialogue, you don't need a voice.
No.
Save your voice for major things, and that also tells the player, hey, this part's important.
It's a serious plot thingy big, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's just so... I mean, like, a partial voice character is fine, too. Like, I think a partial voice protagonist is perfectly acceptable, and even in 2017, I think people can understand that, or just pay your voice actors fucking more. Fallout 4 sold like gangbusters. If Fallout 5 is going to have a voice protagonist, I swear to God, just pay those two people to read a shit ton of lines. Like, a shit ton of lines. And it's not hard! God.
It's really, really, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not hard to do this.
It's really not. Okay, we need
so,
to move on from that.
Yeah. Next, beyond all that, the next point is we need to fix the Institute.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite conversation topic in Fallout 4 because, like, I've like had this in my brain basically since like 3 months after I finished Fallout 4. I had a very specific idea of how to make the Institute better. Because the problem with the Institute, like the major problem with the Institute is, what the fuck are they... Ben, tell me off the top of your head, what exactly does the Institute want?
Robots. They want to make robots?
They want to make robots slave labor, and they need power. That's it. But... like...
Why? They hate their upstairs neighbors.
They hate their
and
upstairs
they're really
neighbors.
Mad because their upstairs neighbors keep practicing their fucking band upstairs, and they can hear the music, and so they're just poking the roof or the ceiling with their broom.
Right.
To get them to shut the fuck up and stop playing Rock Band until 3 in the goddamn morning.
That's it. The Institute has the most garbage. They have no motivation. They have zero. Yeah. There's no reason for them to do the shit they do. There's no reason for them to kidnap people. There's no reason for them to make super mutants, I swear to God. The super mutants shouldn't even be in this game, by the way. Like, there just needs to just not be super mutants. Sorry, like, I know they're iconic, but who gives a shit? Bethesda is, like, the most boring when it comes... Bethesda super mutants are super boring anyways, so, like, just get rid of them, you know? Like, we don't need them.
They should have just been the Vault 87 yellow super mutants, and just... They didn't have to make... The Institute also make super mutants.
Yeah, the Institute also made super mutants. Great. Like... No, we just didn't need them at all, or they came all the way up from Washington, D.C. I don't know, whatever. It's been 10 years. It doesn't matter. Look, the point that's not the important point. The point is that there's no reason for the Institute to do any of this, and you can't ask anybody at the Institute why they're doing this, what's the purpose. When you become the director of the Institute, you can't make them stop, because you're not really the director, because Bethesda loves jerking off to the idea of making their, like, protagonist in charge of everything, but not actually letting them be in charge of anything. The Institute is the shittiest version of it's like the Enclave, but somehow in Fallout 3, except somehow more stupid, and I didn't think you could get more stupid than the Enclave in Fallout 3.
Because at least the Enclave had kind of a reason for doing what they're doing.
Kind of. I mean, like, what is the purpose of poisoning all the water in the Capital Wasteland? But that's not... Look, that's not what we're talking about. If we did that, we'd be here for another 3 hours. The point is that the Institute has absolutely no reason to do and be evil. Like, there's just not. And it's not even like Shades of Grey. Like, some people like to say, like, on our Fallout, you know, the Fallout subreddits, that, like, the fucking Institute is, like, morally gray. No, they're not. They're, like, the most, like, generically evil, cackling supervillains hiding in their underground fucking lab that I've ever met in my entire life.
They are the mustache twirlers of the Fallout world.
Yeah, they're cartoonishly evil.
They are bad guys for the sake of they needed a villain to fight.
Yeah, and it's, like... And there's no good reason, like... I fucking hate Caesar's Legion. I know we've been referencing Fallout New Vegas a lot in this, but it's because Fallout New Vegas is a good fucking Fallout game. I hate Caesar's Legion, like, a lot, okay? I think they're garbage, and I think that they're just bullshit, and their reasons for existing are all fucking bullshit. And the first time I played New Vegas, I walked into Caesar's camp and I shot him in the head with a shotgun. But then, the next time I played New Vegas, I went and I had a conversation with Caesar, you know? And as much as I hate the Legion, honest to God, you can have a long, in-depth conversation with Caesar about the flaws of democracy, and he'll reference philosophers, and he'll give you very good reasons why, you know, like, they're fucked up, but there are still reasons why the Legion functions the way it does. He has, you know, he's read his history books, he saw the way Rome functioned, and he's like, that's what we need in this post-apocalyptic fucked up universe. Like, these are motivations. His belief is that democracy is fundamentally flawed because it lets idiots rule.
Right,
I'm not going to make any commentary about that in 2017, but, you know, the idea is that the least qualified are allowed to rule in a democracy because the common man picks their leader, you know? And you listen to him and you're like, holy shit. He kind of has a point. And then if you're a good person, you still shoot him in the head with a shotgun.
Yeah.
But you hear it and it makes sense, you know?
Your response to that is, that's a good point. Here's my counter argument. And then you kill him.
And then you kill him because he's still a slaving piece of shit. But
the thing about this, and I reference this to you a lot, is that Rich Burlew, who is the author of Order of the Stick, and is honestly a fantastic writer, and he absolutely knows everything about what he's doing. He wrote a backstory for his villain character, and he wrote it for the express purpose of making his villain understandable but not sympathetic.
Yeah.
And that, like, core tenet sticks to me as the defining point to writing a good villain.
Yeah.
And it does not apply to the Institute.
No.
I can't understand what the Institute is doing.
I have no idea.
You don't have to make their actions justifiable to me. You need to make their actions justifiable to the villain.
Yeah, and to the world. Like, they need to make sense in the context of the universe. Caesar's Legion makes sense in the context of the universe. The Fallout 2 Enclave makes sense in the context of the universe. The Master in Fallout 1 makes sense in the context of the universe. They all have their evil-ass philosophies that to them are sound. And to them, if they win, the deal is that if the Master wins, if the Fallout 2 Enclave wins, if Caesar Legion wins, you have the understanding in your mind that the world will be permanently changed by their victory, you know? Like, that's important. It's why Fallout New Vegas has an ending. Endings are important. Endings exist for a reason. Endings are vital because it lets you know you have done something irreversible to the world, and because of it, you have changed the world. So that's why you have to stop these people. That's why you have to stop the Master. You have to stop the Enclave. Frank Horrigan. Like, that's important. But Fallout 4 doesn't have that. If the Institute wins, their goal is to get power, right? That's why they basically want to get their super reactor online. So what? That means they'll just stay underground and keep doing what they're doing. The world of Fallout doesn't change.
If the Institute wins, nothing about the problem changes. It's just the problem doesn't get solved.
Yeah, and it makes no sense.
Their ultimate goal is to stay the course. And that is boring and that is nonsensical because that doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing. It means fucking nothing.
In any other RPG, in any other game or story, if the villain wins, something worse will happen. If the Reapers win, the galaxy is wiped out.
Right.
If fucking, I don't know, but any JRPG, if the party fails to stop Lavos, he will destroy the world in 1999.
Yeah.
If you could go on and on. If the Institute wins, nothing changes.
Nothing changes in the world. The world of Fallout 4 is basically like just disgustingly static. It's boring. Nothing changes.
And you have a villain as Father as your villain, who he was so uninteresting.
Just so nothing.
And you have, one of the things I realized is that, like, one of the worst things is that there's a point in the game where Father steps out into the above ground world, and he takes a look at it, and you have a conversation with him. Right. And nothing happens in that conversation. No. You can't change his mind. You can't show him the rebuilt world. Yeah. This place that has come back from nothing. Mm-hmm. And he says, I don't care.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that could have been, I don't know, it could have been something. It could have been, I don't know.
The idea of the villain being apathetic towards that is fine, but he needs more. Why doesn't he care? What? If he doesn't care, why is he kidnapping people? Why is he replacing them with synths? What is his end goal? What is your plan?
What is the purpose of there's again, and it's kind of a problem with Fallout 4 is that all the cool shit's already happened and you're just kind of showing up after the fact. What is the point of killing everybody? So I don't know if you ever got this plot point, but at one point in Fallout 4 they mentioned that all of the existing settlements in the Fallout 4 universe or in the Commonwealth came together and they were going to form a Commonwealth Provisional Government, the CPG. And it was basically the idea of these settlements would come together and they would basically have their own militia, they would look out for each other, and they would be kind of like the baby version of the NCR. And then the Institute infiltrated it with a synth and killed everybody there and basically put a stop to the CPG. Now here's my question, why? What is the point? What is the point?
If Father, who has been around for 60 years, who's, been, around for 60 years, and he's been the leader for, we'll assume 30 of that, if he is so disgusted with the above ground world, if that is, he wants nothing to do with it, why does he keep sending patrols up to it? Yeah, why does he keep kidnapping people? Why does he authorize super mutants and send them out?
If it's a fear of being discovered by the outside, then they don't show that. There's nothing that suggests that anybody in the Fallout 4 universe is anywhere near discovering where the Institute is. If it was like an issue of where we know where the Institute is, and we are going to go fuck them up and take their shit, like raiders and stuff, then, like, you could maybe have an argument there, that it's like, well, we're trying to destabilize the region so they won't come find us. But nobody knows where the Institute is! Yeah! Like, and it's impossible, it is literally impossible to get in unless you have a teleporter. Like, there is no, I mean, like, I think in the Minutemen ending, there is a way to get in, like, through, like, a train pipe or something? I never did the Minutemen ending.
No, in the Minutemen ending, you just have, Sturgis build the teleporter instead. Oh. Which is honestly hilarious, because, like, everyone else has, like, if you do the Brotherhood, they have access to post-war tech. Mm-hmm. If you do the Railroad, they have access to, salvage Institute tech. Mm-hmm. And fucking Sturgis is just smart.
Sturgis just builds shit out in Sanctuary and is like, hey, I made me a teleporter. But I'm talking, oh, go ahead.
I just think that's hilarious, and one of the things I do love about Fallout 4 is that I love how the Minutemen are just like, they're the Railroad has a whole mission statement, and the Brotherhood is obviously the Brotherhood, and they have law and order and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I really do love how the Minutemen are just like, what if we helped people?
Because we live here.
Yeah. Yeah. The Minutemen are the Guardians quote is, why do you want to save the Earth so bad, or the galaxy so badly? Because I'm one of the idiots who lives in it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what the Minutemen are. It's great.
Yeah. So, but that's, beside the point, and that's it's just like, the Institute is just so not there, and...
So here's my thing. Here's how I fix the Institute.
So that's the problem. How do we fix it?
I went on a big long tangent about the Institute, and I'm sorry about that, but I really did need to get all that out of my system because it's important.
So how do we fix it? How do we make it better and work?
The way this works now is that a bunch of years ago, however many years before Fallout 4, let's say 50, just for a number, why not? Let's say 50 years ago or whatever, some fucking people, scavengers or something, found a way into the Institute, and they were like, holy shit, look at all this nice ass technology, let's sack the place. And so they tried with some raiders, and then the Institute was like, nah, we're gonna fuck you up. But see, now the cat's out of the bag, right? People kind of know where the Institute is. So instead, the Institute was like, well, we can't keep people from finding us now, so what we're gonna do instead is we're going to occupy the Commonwealth. We're going to be the king big dick of shit mountain, and we're gonna occupy the Commonwealth. And because we have a whole legion of robot slaves and synths and all this shit, it's really easy. And as long as they leave us alone, like as long as they pay tribute to us and give us supplies when we request them and kind of help us out when we do shady shit, we will leave you the hell alone. And we will have research facilities at every cardinal point on the map, and then some. Make it 8 so that you've got one for, like I said, every cardinal point in the map. And then you basically do as we say. We are your overlords and you are our colonies, because Fallout 4 basically wants to desperately rub this idea of being the Revolutionary War in your face and then doesn't fucking do anything with it.
It's set in Boston, for God's sake.
It's set in Boston, and your primary faction, if you don't want to side with anybody, is the fucking Minutemen. And you use laser muskets, and there's, like, American flags hanging all over the place. It's really obvious what Bethesda wanted to do.
There's a guy named fucking Hancock!
Yeah, exactly, and he runs around in a fucking old-fashioned red duster from the fucking Revolutionary War period. Your general's outfit is basically like George Washington's jacket, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything with all of these fucking parallels. They just decided to, I don't know, shit the bed. So yeah, generally what it is you wake up into a world that has a bunch of these fucking research facilities in it, and if you try to go anywhere near them, you're obliterated, because you're not invited. And the Institute itself is like the most heavily guarded place in, all of the Commonwealth. You can't get into CIT. There's, people know where it is now. Like, you could try, but you'll fucking die. So then it also solves another problem I have, which is, like, for one, in survival mode, and this is super fucking stupid, if you play in survival mode and you have the teleporter, you can't actually teleport from the Institute to wherever you want to go. You can only teleport from the inside of the Institute to the CIT Rotunda. That's dumb. Makes no sense. The whole point of doing the Institute subquest is to be able to teleport. That's what makes it so dope. 2. So then instead what you have is that each of these research facilities are teleport points. Sorry. So that the Institute can't teleport to anywhere in the Commonwealth, because that has so many, like, it's another one of those, if you think about it for more than 5 minutes thing, you're like, that's really fucking dumb.
Yeah. If the Institute can teleport it anywhere in the Commonwealth, why don't they run the Commonwealth?
Why don't they teleport a bunch of synths into the glowing sea? If they're looking for Virgil, why don't they just... And for one, why is Virgil hiding in the glowing sea if synths are immune to radiation? Oh my god, this game is so fucking stupid. Oh my god! But, so instead the rule is, okay, they can't teleport anywhere. They can only teleport to these research facilities, but that gives them a leg up, because it means they can move a bunch of people to a bunch of places and basically have all these occupying bases. They occupy the fucking, what's it called, Ben? Fort Independence? The castle. They occupy the castle? Yeah. So they have control of the castle, so instead of it being a sea monster, which is stupid, it's just a Queen Mirelurk, and anybody with a rocket launcher and some time can kill that, so I don't know why the Minutemen got kicked out by that. Instead, they occupy the castle as a means of discouraging the people of the Commonwealth from organizing a militia and rising up against them. It's all about oppression. That's the name of the game. It's about the fact that the fucking Institute has a stranglehold on the Commonwealth, and nobody knows what to do or how to fight back, right?
Right. You are taking them from being a shady secret, urban legend whispering of people getting abducted and whatever, and you are turning them into a threat. They are oppressive threat who will kick down the door and take you in broad daylight, and, you can't stop them. They are in charge, and they have the biggest dicks.
They've got the biggest dicks in town, and they are, they're there to fuck you up. So now, hey, you've got a villain. You've got a villain that kind of has, kind of like Caesar's Legion. They have maybe a point to their villainy, because this wouldn't be happening if the Commonwealth hadn't come knocked on their door and tried to bust in. But they've obviously gone, way overboard. I'm a little unsure about why they would still be abducting people. Maybe they're not abducting people. Maybe they're only abducting people who are, trying to... Piper has a fear of being abducted. Maybe it's, the idea that if you speak out against the Institute, then you disappear in the middle of the night and you're replaced by a robot. I guess that makes sense, yeah. Yeah.
That you could change it into so many reasons as to why they are being kidnapped. And, one of them could be they don't value above ground life as worthwhile, so they are perfect for test subjects, which is cruel. But again, considering what the Institute stands for and what they are, it's understandable from their point of view.
Right, and it's kind of and that's not too different from what they do in Fallout 4, in the plot of Fallout 4. But there's no
by making it more overt that this is what they're doing and they have a reason for believing this. You are making them more of a credible threat.
Yeah, they're a threat. And it's kind of like, they're taking only the people who speak out against them. It kind of makes them seem, again, more like an occupying force and like fascists.
Yeah, they aren't sneaking in and kidnapping random Joe citizen.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
They are looking for dissenters. They are looking for people who would rebel against them, and they wiped out the Minutemen, you could say.
Yeah, they totally...
The Minutemen tried to take back the castle, they got wiped out, and that's why it's just Preston and a handful of other guys.
Yeah, or, the idea that what happened at Quincy was that a Minuteman... Like a Minuteman captain? I think it was a captain. He betrayed the Minutemen at Quincy and sold them out to the Gunners, and now the Gunners control Quincy, and it was the last Minutemen were wiped out at Quincy. You could say that guy was, because the Minutemen had the audacity to try and keep functioning as a militia even after they lost the castle, the Institute decided to make a final blow, and they brought in the Gunners to fuck up Quincy, and Quincy called for help, and that one captain was replaced with a synth, and after that it was just everybody was dead. That's more logical sense,
By doing it this way, by giving them a reason to kidnap people, again, you are making them more of a credible threat and making their actions understandable, and they have a reason behind what they're doing instead of just randomly kidnapping people because bad guys.
Yeah, makes sense.
They are quashing rebellion so they can continue what they're doing. It's a reason. It's a bad reason, but it's a reason.
I've only got so much to work with here.
Yeah, and by bad, I don't mean it is a poorly written reason. It is a bad guy reason.
It's a bad guy reason because the Institute is the bad guy faction. The way Caesar's Legion is the bad guy faction. Don't email me and tell me that it's morally gray. I'll fight you.
They kidnap people in the middle of the night, and they turn them into they replace them with robots, and they created the super mutants and just let the super mutants out. Okay? They're the bad guys.
They're the bad guy faction. They are the bad guy faction. And Fallout games have bad guy factions. It's kind of the fun of being whoever the fuck you want to be. Do you want to be a bad guy? Here you go. But here's the thing. The other problem with Fallout's, factions is that because the Institute winning doesn't feel like anything in the Commonwealth has changed, you also don't feel that evil. The whole point of, bad guy factions is to make you feel like a bad guy. You're doing a bad thing, and it's kind of like a... you know, like you're doing something in video, like role-playing games. The appeal of role-playing games is you're doing something outside your character. If you want to, like, have the kind of emotional catharsis of playing a bad guy in a video game, then go for it. But the problem is that, like, in Fallout 4, you don't even really feel like that much of a bad guy. You just kind of feel like the Institute's, like, delivery guy.
Yeah,
you know?
you are. If you do the Institute ending, by the end of it, you know, the ultimate like qualification for that for me is that if you do, no matter what you do, if you do the Institute ending, the biggest change is that Piper writes an article that says maybe it won't be so bad with this guy in charge.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's like, oh, well, I'm not the bad guy at all.
Yeah, you don't feel like a villain. There's no Fallout. Fallout. There's no repercussions from, like, your companions or anything like that, because Bethesda is a bunch of babies and refuses to pull the trigger on anything that might piss off a few players and lose them sales. That's all it is. It's just cowards writing video games. And so, like, you don't even get the chance to really feel like a bad guy. It's not like, you know, you wake up in this world and here are these people who really desperately need help because they're being oppressed by this, like, way more, like, heavily armed and powerful force, and you have this opportunity to go out into the Commonwealth and do some good, and instead you decide to be an asshole and help them continue to be oppressed. That's a bad guy route, you know? Like, that's your evil ass route. Instead, you just kind of do nothing for no reason.
Yes.
So that's like my big Institute overhaul.
Yeah.
And you know, people say Fallout 4 is basically Far Cry out. Let's go full Far Cry out then. You know, like, fuck it. Go full Far Cry and be like, well, part of the, if you're playing as the Minutemen or as the or any of the factions, honestly.
Yeah.
One of your main objectives is taking those outposts, just like in Far Cry. I mean, it's not great, but, you know, I'm not a game designer, and I still think that sounds more interesting than nothing, you know? Having no stakes at all. And it's like, and in the fun, if you decide to progress the storyline without taking all of the fucking outposts, then it means that the Institute has more resources to fight against you in the last main mission or whatever. You know?
There are so many ways you can, again, tie gameplay into story, and depending on how good of a job you do at either leading the rebellion or, you know, fighting for the oppressors, it depends on how many resources you have at the end, and that's all. It's such a core, simple thing to do to make your player feel more invested in the game and story and the decisions they make.
Yeah, and it makes you feel like, okay, I think that the game focuses too much on settlement building, and I love building settlements. I know that's a little, you know, hypocritical of me because I'm obsessed with settlement building, but I still think the game is too focused on settlement building. But, like, you know, you take an outpost, right? Well, now you can build settlements in that region. Wow, look, you've just involved the shooty bang bits of the game with the building aspect of it, and now you're more invested in taking back the entire region if settlement building is your thing.
Yeah, and if you could say, like, if you build settlements with a sort of theme in mind, i.e., if you have a good population, if you're given stats for your settlements, you know, happiness or food or beds or whatever, they don't ultimately mean anything.
They mean nothing, yeah.
And you could have easily said, like, if you have a bunch of settlements that are all in really good condition, then you, at the last battle, you get an army of, like, dozens of Minutemen or whatever, you know, will pop up and fight the synths with you.
Yeah, and you could do it, I mean, again, Nuka World did it where you can assign a faction to that settlement. You could totally do that in Fallout 4. You can give a settlement to the Brotherhood of Steel, or you can give it to the Railroad or the fucking Minutemen, you know?
Honestly, the Nuka World is, now that I think about it, is kind of like a microcosm of what you could have done with settlement building and what you could have done with the factions.
I mean, both Fallout DLC, both of 4's DLCs are microcosms of what Fallout 4 could have been.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The plot of Far Harbor is just the plot of Fallout 4, but better. You know, there's a person,
Yeah,
there's an asshole taking people in their sleep and replacing them with robots. Do you side with them? What do you do? What is the moral choice here, you know?
Like, if honestly, like, if Far Harbor and Nuka World are... They kind of almost do feel like borderline apologies for what Fallout 4 ended up being.
Yeah.
And, like, kind of like, no, we can do it. We can do the good thing.
I don't know if I believe them, because it keeps getting worse. You know, Skyrim has too many fucking Radiant quests, but at least you don't have a character voice. Fallout 4 has too many fucking Radiant quests and nothing else. There's very, very few just side quests that aren't to do with the main quest.
No.
And you have a character voice, so there's even less role-playing involved. It's just, like, it gets worse and worse and worse. So I don't know.
Now, you know, so that's more or less, like, you know, and as far as the ending goes, this one's just kind of quick, you know, because what ending?
Yeah, I think you and I have.
For
I looked at our notes. I think you and I have differing opinions. I am of the opinion that Fallout 4 should just end.
Now, I mean, yes and no for that. One of the things is that, like, when you have an open world like this, I do really enjoy, like, so here's one thing I will say about this, is that when I have an open world game and it's a very vast, expansive universe, I like having the ability to be like, okay, I beat the main quest. Well, now I can go and wrap up all the little things that I forgot to do or whatever. Because, like, when I play open world games, I'll get wrapped up in the main quest and I'll forget to do the side quests, or I won't even know about a certain side quest until I beat it. And I don't like the pause right before walking through the final door.
Yeah.
And going to clean up all of your messes when it's like, you know, the villain is right there, we can take him now!
Yeah.
Well, let me go walk around for a little bit, and I'm gonna go over here for a couple hours or whatever. I don't like that, so I don't necessarily mind an open world ending where you can keep playing afterwards, but, like, especially in a game like Fallout, make it matter. Okay, so here's one of the things that, I think one of the games that does it really well is, Arkham Knight, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Because what Arkham Knight does is that after its main quest line is done, you know, the way the side quests are is that they're all kind of really unrelated to the plot.
Right.
Like, of the main game. And it's like, you know, Batman's like, well, I beat this guy, but there's still work to do.
Right, yeah.
And then, so you can go and clean up all that. And then whenever you're done, you can go back, like, the game doesn't show you the credits after beating the main quest.
Right.
It waits until you clean up all your mess, and then there's a point where Batman goes, alright, I'm done. And then you go back to Wayne Manor, and then the end of the game happens.
Okay.
So I think that's the way to do it, is that, like, you beat the Institute, you know, in Fallout 4, or whatever, you do that. Now you're like, there's still work to do.
Yeah.
So you can go and clean up all your quests. Then, you go do the real actual final thing, where it's, I don't know, you press the button, if you side with the Institute, you press the button and all the Institute robots come to life, and the Gen 4 synths are made, and
right, yeah.
they overtake the Commonwealth.
They're basically the fucking Terminators, or whatever.
Yeah. If you side with the Minutemen, you, build a, you know, you decide, I don't know, you want to expand the Minutemen to cover more than the Commonwealth, so you're getting to work organizing your troops, and you go to press the button to build vehicles to send, you know, Minutemen out to wherever.
Yeah.
And that's your ending. You know, you side with the Brotherhood, and you help train, you know, you press the button to train, you know, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
You can design your ending to happen, and then say, I still have to finish up these things before I can really trigger the end. And that's, I think, the best way to do an open world, still walk around and do whatever you forgot to do.
Yeah, I think I like that option the most, because it kind of, for one, it gives you the finality of an ending, you know, and it's something simple. It's just, you know, basically like an epilogue shot showing, you know, whatever, your character doing stuff. It doesn't have to be anything major. It's just showing that, hey, this is like, your character has reached a finality in the story, and now it's over. and now here's the final speech from Ron Perlman or whatever. You know, like, I guess, I wish they would get Ron Perlman back.
One of the things I didn't make a note of it, but like, hey, just have Ron Perlman do the War Never Changes speech, okay? Just, don't have it be voiced, man. Have it be Ron Perlman. That's his thing. That's
his thing. Just pay Ron Perlman. Holy shit! Just get Ron Perlman.
You got him in the game already. Have him do it.
Yeah, just
okay.
Whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
Anyway, yeah.
But like for real, like, you know, have a, you know, and it's like a simple final main. You know, it's labeled as a main quest, and it, you know, before you go do it, the window pops up and says, "Are you sure this is the, you know, this is the end? Do you want to do this thing?" And then, like, yeah, sure, I want to do it. It's like an epilogue quest. It's not like, it's not the resolution quest. It's not like the big climactic final fucking whatever quest. It's just this is the, you know, it shows how far your character's
trigger
come.
The ending quest.
Yeah, it triggers the ending, whatever. Then you get, and then, like, again, no, I'm never going to stop referencing New Vegas. We definitely need to bring back the ending slides. Like,
yes, those are great.
Those are great. I love knowing what happened to people.
They are notably absent from 4.
Because and because of it, you know, the world just kind of feels static, you know? And it's like...
Yeah.
And after you do your fucking climactic final boss, whatever quest, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't really know. I can think of that later. You know, like, it doesn't, you know, you can come up with that on your own. Anything is better than what we got, again. You know, and maybe it is storm the Institute and retake the Commonwealth and blah, 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 you know? Or it's go fuck up the Brotherhood of Steel and the Railroad and the Minutemen, whatever. I don't know.
You know, or, you know, either it's, hey, go and invade the Institute, or it's defend the Institute.
Yeah, I think,
you know?
I think it would be fun to be, like, depending on how you, the player character, are doing things, it'd be neat to see, like, if you were playing as the Institute and you didn't, I don't know, if you didn't ally with Preston, then the Minutemen and the Brotherhood actually become allies and try and come fuck up the Institute, and you defend it, and then you go blow up Liberty Prime. I don't know. That's kind of already in the game. That's kind of already in the game, and I think that's serviceable. But, you know, like, anything. And then after that big climactic thing, what changes is you can run into, like, way more patrols of your chosen faction, you know? And, I mean, there's already checkpoints and stuff, but, I mean, there just needs to be more.
Yeah, what we have already is that whatever faction you side with will have their flags around, and there will be some more troops around the area.
Yeah.
More of that.
I mean, that's really all it is, because, like you said, we've kind of put in, not instituted, we've put in a, like, the ending button, you know? So because we have the ending button, we'll call it that, because we have the ending button, we don't need to have the world be too radically different. Because the epilogue slides that the game desperately needs will show us that.
We'll show what we have right now, the post, what we see. Mm-hmm. If we were to have the ending button, then cool. There are flags up, and there are more Minutemen patrols around. Oh yeah, that's showing a sign of things, you know,
things to come,
improving. Yeah, and then you press the button, and you see way more of that. You see whether they expand out or they become like the de facto protectors and government of the Commonwealth or whatever.
Yeah, or you see the Brotherhood of Steel kind of mobilizing to defend the Commonwealth. You get this sense that you've actually made a change in the world in a really simple way. It doesn't have to be, again, because Obsidian was working with a small budget, they used but they just used slides, and the slides worked just fine. They were cool. They let you see what became of everybody in a simple way.
Because there were so many of them that you got, and they were still presented in such a nice way that, you felt satisfied with that. With the ending for each individual thing.
Yeah, and not just, and I mean, like, for everything, for the fucking, like, all of your companions, all of the factions. Even in New Vegas, there was stuff for the DLC would get mentioned in the ending slides. Which is amazing.
you know? And you could do that again with Fallout 4, where it's after, you know, if you press the ending button, and then Far Harbor came out, you could just reload your save before you press the ending button and go do Far Harbor. And then that would add more to the game, you know?
Exactly. Like having the ending button is a great way to have both things. To have the ability to walk around the world after doing the main quest, because, you know, I think that's a nice feature to have, because, once I beat the main quest, there might be stuff that I want to go back and play in the game that I just didn't get to.
And you don't want to ruin the momentum of the final the final encounter by going off and doing fucking side quest shit.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of the problem I have with, like, one of the reasons I am kind of grateful that Broken Steel existed is because, like, Fallout 3 really is, like, after you get out of the mountain, and after Fox rescues you, like, you're kind of like, I'm gonna go beat it now.
Yeah, because
like,
it's momentum.
You're built up to, like, okay, we're gonna do it, we're gonna go right now and do the war.
Yeah.
And, like, that is supposed to be your go take care of your business moment.
Yeah.
But the game is more like, you gotta go now and do this right now. So yeah, adding, like, a post, you know, game way of going and finishing up your side quest, and then getting a final epilogue that shows the actual, you know, ripples of what you've done.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's easy to implement. Slides are so easy. Oh my god. And then it would feel like, again, because one of, like, the main problems I have with Fallout 4 is that, like, a lot of the I don't like a lot of the companions, honestly. I mean, I like them, but they just kind of feel all, like, really weak, unless it's, like, Piper, Valentine, and Dance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dance is a really good companion because he actually, whoa, I know, hold on to your ass, Ben. Hold on, are you ready for this? Dance actually has an effect on the plot of the story.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Are you shitting me? That makes Dance like an actual character, because he interacts with the world around him. And Piper does too, kinda, and so does Valentine. Everybody else is just kinda fucking there. You know? But then you would feel like, well, you resolved their issue, and now here's what they're doing, and now it's like, oh, they're like characters, they have a resolution, they have a life outside of whatever the fuck you're doing, and they're all like people, you know, and that's cool. I like that. I like the idea, and then you would feel a little bit more invested in maybe, like, doing their side quest, if they have a side quest, Bethesda.
Well, and now, you know what, that's kind of like a good branching point from plotline to gameplay mechanics, which is that...
Why doesn't everybody have a side quest, Bethesda?
These companions... One of the things I really don't like is that these companions are not treated equally.
No.
You know?
No. There's like I said, there are 3 actual good ones. And then there's, like, okay. There are 3 great ones because they affect the plot, they're interesting, you know, they're actual characters, and then there's some good ones who are, like, fun, but they don't really do anything, and then there's just a bunch of shit boring ones, you know?
Yeah, it's like, if you're, it's like, this whole idea of, like, you're not treating your characters equally, and it's very, so, like, why bother?
Yeah, why even have them be characters in the first place?
Like, they include, like, characters like Strong or, like, Curie. They feel like they were included because they wanted to have a robot character and a super mutant character.
Yeah.
Not because they wanted to create, you know, a diverse, fun companion to hang around with.
Right. It's just, well, we need a French robot and a super mutant.
Yeah, you need the big guy. You need the big guy, so you throw in Strong. He's not like Fox, you know.
Yeah, he's not interesting like Fox.
Yeah, he's just, you know, Fox affects the main plot. You meet him on the main plot line.
Yeah, crazy.
And instead he's just kind of there, and you recruit him, and then he doesn't have a quest
or anything, really.
Yeah,
like, even his like social link is just kind of like whatever, you know.
Yeah, Curie has a quest, you know, has a few, but, like, they don't tie into the main plot. Not that this doesn't necessarily have to, but
But it's not
once
really
you-
a quest either. It's just take her to a place and then a thing
Yeah.
happens.
It's just like every companion should have had a full-out quest.
A loyalty
you have
quest.
to accomplish.
A
Yeah.
loyalty quest, like in Mass Effect in New Vegas. You know, and New Vegas was important because if you did arcades, for example, like his old Enclave family buddies would show up and help you with the final boss, you know, or the final fight to, you know, take the Hoover Dam. You know, that was important. That it felt like, again,
Yeah.
you were affecting the storyline. And even the ones that didn't have, like, as much of an effect on it, like Lily, the crazy Nightkin. The crazy Nightkin badass grandma super mutant.
Grandma. Yeah.
Grandma. She was cool. She didn't have anything to do with the main plot, but because she had ending slides, you kind of got to know, like, oh, well, this is what happened to Lily, and, you know, you got to know her as a character, and, you know, she had, like, an actual really great personality, because she wanted to dote on you like a grandma, even though she was a crazy super mutant.
Yeah, exactly.
And she had, like, a lot of character and stuff.
Yeah, and so, you know, it's not fair to these characters that they are not treated the same.
Yeah, like, how the hell did Piper not have a quest about finding out if McDonough was a synth or not?
Yeah, how did she not, like... She's a plot character. You kind of have to meet her in the main plot. Why doesn't she have her own personal stuff to deal with?
And don't tell me it's because she's part of the main quest, because so does Valentine.
Yeah, Valentine has tons of stuff. Valentine has all fucking DLC.
Right?
You know?
Valentine has all of Far Harbor and a personal quest. What? What?
Yeah, and then you have characters like Strong who has nothing, and you have like Kate or Curie who only have like minor personal quests.
Yeah, I don't like Kate. I know you like Kate. I'm sorry. I know
she's not like one of my favorites. I think I like the idea of Kate more than I actually like Kate herself.
Right.
And holy shit, they needed to, like, I found out Kate's voice actress is actually Irish.
What?
So why does she have such a bad accent?
I don't know. Isn't it that, like, I always heard that her voice actress was, like, Scottish, but they asked her to do an Irish accent.
Yeah, oh yeah, you know what, you're right. She is Scottish, and maybe that's why she did such a bad Irish accent.
Which is insane! Maybe. Why not just let her do her, like, natural Scottish accent?
Just make Kate Scottish, because it's not like there's a lot of Irish accents running around, you know, Fallout 4 anyway.
Bethesda.
I mean, yeah, I know it's in
Bethesda,
Boston.
do you think that Scottish people and Irish people are the same thing? Is that why this happened? Bethesda?
Because that's a good way to piss off both Irish and Scottish people.
Todd Howard, do you actually know what a Scottish person sounds like? Answer me, Todd Howard!
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? And it'd be so easy to just make Kate Scottish, because, yeah, guess what? Angry Scottish person is still a thing.
It's still a thing. Fighting dudes in a fucking cage, getting drunk and doing drugs. It's a fucking Scottish stereotype. Yeah, sure, it's still a fucking thing.
But they're not the same. Okay, but you know, the point is, Kate still deserved more, and Curie still deserved more, and even fucking Codsworth deserved more.
Codsworth deserved a quest. You're right. Codsworth was a good man.
I feel bad because, like, I feel like the fandom in general forgets that Codsworth is there, and honestly, this is a minor thing. Here's what I would have done with Codsworth. Mm-hmm. Codsworth should have had a quest where you actually fix him. Like,
yeah.
You shouldn't have, like, run into him, like, you know, floating around your town. Mm-hmm. You should have, like, found his body, and you could have found parts to put him back together.
Oh, that would have been nice. Yeah. Oh,
that would have been like a fun thing to do.
That would have.
Yeah.
But that requires effort, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but you know, again, he literally, Codsworth has been with you since the beginning.
Yes.
And he deserved more.
Codsworth deserved more. I think I don't know if Codsworth should have been a companion.
But I think Codsworth should have been like a something. I heard somebody once suggest, I think it was Joseph Anderson again. Please watch Joseph Anderson's video on YouTube, all of you. He's very good at what he does. I think he mentioned that, like, Codsworth should have been, like, your hand-wavy reason to explain why you can build settlements. Like, he's, like, your robot who can help you build shit. Like, I think that would have been
You know
cool.
what? That would make a ton of sense, is that, yeah, Codsworth is responsible for the actual construction of settlements, you know? That's why you can do it so quickly, is because you have a robot that knows how to build things with you.
And maybe it's like, you know, you have to fix Codsworth before you can do, like, settlements and stuff. And maybe, I don't know, it could be like if you build more robots, like a robot per settlement, then the cost of building shit in settlements goes down. Like, that's, I know it's crazy to, like, make your, like, gameplay elements lock together. I know, Bethesda, it's a lot of work. I know, I'm sorry. I'm asking you to do more work. But, that would have been, like, a nice, like, little lore-friendly way to explain why you can build all these buildings super fast. It's kind of, you know, it's a little hand-wavy. But it works.
But it's a thing. It's like a reason, and it's better than no reason.
It would have been fun if, like, when you go into settlement mode, you switch to Codsworth's point of view instead, and then your character just goes and chills out by the workbench.
Yeah.
You know?
Or, you know, it's like, hey, give me a fucking top-down settlement viewer.
Oh my god, please. Just give me some way to, like, navigate the settlements not on foot.
Yeah, because I, like, for one thing, like, I go back and forth. It's like, for one thing, yeah, it is really nice to be up close and personal, and so you can work out the details. But when I'm building something and I need to, like, go higher, I don't like having to find scaffolding and building a staircase to get higher up.
Yeah, I just think, like, there should have been more, like, viewing modes. And again, if you were playing as Codsworth, Codsworth is a Mr. Handy. Codsworth can fly. So then you wouldn't have to worry about building a fucking, you know, like a set of staircases to get up high. You know?
I wouldn't be constantly falling off of my own goddamn platforms
and dying,
trying to put walls in.
I've had that happen before. Yeah, I've fallen off the top of the highway at Finch Farm like a bunch of times and died.
I'm like,
it's not fun.
I'm like trying to upgrade my castle, and I'll fall off, and I have to go all the way fucking around to go back in.
It's bullshit. Yeah, and it could have been like, you know, at every settlement you have to, I don't know, repair a robot. It's not a lot of work, you know, but you gotta fucking repair a robot. Just do something. Do, like, a thing to kind of just make it more, like, instead of you just randomly plopping down houses, it's like, oh, here's a reason why it's doing this. I don't know. I don't fucking know, but something.
Yeah, and so, basically, the biggest gameplay things that need to be fixed are that you need to have your companions with quests built in to get their loyalty, and every like, you know, we mentioned earlier, like, you know, they don't want, you know, your faction companions don't really matter, or whatever, but, like, so what you do is you have a quest where you earn their loyalty regardless of whether or not you are signing with their faction. Maybe maybe your faction companions, maybe Deacon X, who gives a fuck?
No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, Dance and Preston all have a secondary level of loyalty quest that you have to do to earn their loyalty as a person, not as a faction.
Yeah, I think, and I do think that all of the faction quest dudes needed to have a quest not like exactly like Blind Betrayal, but Blind Betrayal is a really good quest. It's actually like it actually has, like, some weight, and it actually has an impact on the world, because if you do it a certain way, Dance is now dead. You know, like, hey, you've actually made an impact on the world, however small, you know? Or you can do the talkie talk thing that Fallout is all about and convince Maxon to let him go. You know, that's Fallout. Like, that Blind Betrayal is, like, kind of okay, but in terms of Fallout 4 quest lines, holy shit, it just blows, like, a ton of things in Fallout 4 out of the fucking water.
It's like, the standard quest you'd find in, like, 3 or New Vegas is, like, exceptional in 4, and that's kind of, like, the main issue. That's
really kind of, like, the reason why Fallout 4 is such a disappointment. But yeah, and I think all of the faction companions needed some kind of quest that could put their life on the line, you know? I don't think Fallout 4 is brave enough to risk your companions' lives, and I wish it would be. You know? I wish it would actually give you some fucking consequences.
Now, here's the thing, is, like, I don't mind them being invincible in combat.
No,
because
that's fine.
3 in New Vegas, 3, that was stupid.
It was stupid and annoying, yeah.
It's stupid in 1 and 2 as well.
Oh yeah, it's just,
you know?
It's just... That's just an annoyance. That's just like a way to make you reload your game, and it stops the flow of gameplay. Because when Dogmeat died, I would just reload my game, and it would fuck up the flow of gameplay, you know?
Yeah, and it's eventually you get to the point where, like, okay, well, Dogmeat, sit in this house in the dark, because I can't risk you getting hurt.
Yeah, I don't want my companions to die, so I'm just never going to use them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you can, in story mode, depending on your actions, eliminate that, invincibility, and then put them at odds with you, and the only way it can end is in bloodshed.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, you can have both.
You can do... Again, how about, as much as Nuka World is great, how stupid is... oh god, it's so stupid! How stupid is it that Preston can get just furious with you for raiding the Commonwealth, and then the next time you talk to him, he's like, "What's up, General?"
Yeah,
I don't know, Preston. Aren't you supposed to be mad at me? You know, at that point, if you do that, you know, if you decide to raid the fucking Commonwealth with your raider buddies, then Preston should get so mad at you that he's gonna try to kill you because you're clearly not the person he thought you were. You know?
Exactly.
That's that's Fallout. You know, that's how it should be. That's a good story because now it's you can make the choice to be a raider asshole, but it means you're gonna, you know, you might lose your friends. Shit, you might. I mean, I wish there was more, like McCready and Kate and Strong, although I think you could just remove Strong from the game entirely, but whatever. Like McCready and Kate and Strong and maybe a few other companions, if you did the raider thing, they would still stick with you, but Piper and Valentine and, Preston, who are all, lawful good, straight up lawful good characters, they should all just bail on you. I mean, that's Bethesda being cowards and not wanting to piss off a player and then lose some money, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There consequences for your actions.
There's no consequences for anything you do in Fallout, and I think karma systems suck, but I think that your companions should have functioned, that your companions almost function as a karma system in Fallout 4, but it should have gone further. If you do the Minutemen questline and stuff or not the Minutemen questline, the Brotherhood of Steel questline, and you fucking kill the railroad, you kill Deacon, but then none of your other companions, the 2 synths you hang out with, the 3 synths you hang out with, actually, because Dance and Valentine and Security, none of them bail on you, even though you just did this super fucked up thing where you killed some synths and, basically doomed the other synths in the Institute to, a horrible life. None of them bail on you. They're just I'm really disappointed in you. And then they never fucking do anything else.
What it should have been is that, they have a list of actions they like and dislike, and you use that to build up their relationship and whatever. That's fine. There should have been plotline things where it's, hey, you do this, you lose them forever. And the game can even warn you that, you're about to make a decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pop-up screens. Pop-up screens are fine. It doesn't break the immersion. It just kind of lets you know that you're about to do a thing. I mean, I think there should be quests in this game. You should not end the game with the exact same number of companions you started it with, you know? Because of the way quest lines progress, you should, but just by natural progression of the story, a few of your companions will turn on you. No matter who you side with, I think that makes the game more compelling. If you side with the Minutemen, almost everybody will be cool with you, except for the Institute guy and, I don't know, Strong or something. I don't like Strong. I don't care about Strong. Strong is whatever. You know, or Dance could almost, have fucking beef with you, but you can talk him down from it. Or if you
spare him and make him your friend after blind betrayal and he bails on the Brotherhood, then, like, Dance is cool with you, although he kind of has, like, maybe a conversation where he's like, I really don't want you to destroy it. And maybe if you blow up the Brotherhood, maybe he still bails on you because he's like, listen, they wanted me dead, but they were still the people who I knew and loved, and I'm kind of fucked up about that. I gotta go, man. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like
that's character building stuff. That's actual, like, that establishes these people as people, you know? Like, they have their moralities. They have their lines that can't be crossed. You know, you killed everybody in the Institute. Well, now all of your synth buddies are pissed off at you, and they don't want anything to do with you because you just did something really fucked up. You blew up the Brotherhood, and some of your more lawful companions are still kind of pissed off at you, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
There are ways to do this. Ah!
Yes, again, this is all just ways to fix a system that's in place.
And then you don't need a karma system because you have an organic way to show your story changing. And if you do certain things, the idea being that if you play the game in a certain way, even if you get the same ending as, you know, if we both got the Minutemen ending, but we did things differently along the way, we end up with different companions.
Yeah, exactly. We end up with a different a different conclusion. If we do the companion or the ending cards, we can do the same quest, but our results will be slightly different, and that's what makes Fallout, and that's what made Mass Effect 1 and 2 good, is
right.
that you could end up with fundamentally different makeup.
Yeah. And even, you know, I've been thinking lately I should go back and play now that they've kind of given Mass Effect 3 a proper ending, you know? Like, there's a part of me that kind of wants to give it a shot, because if I can tolerate Fallout 4, I can sure the fuck tolerate Mass Effect 3 and give it another chance. I still think Andromeda is garbage, but that's for another day. But, you know, like, it's so simple. That is such simple stuff, and it's an organic way to make a world and a story for every different player. Like, everybody's worlds and stories are different because it's missing certain characters, or certain characters are just not interested in being your friend anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Nuka World should have had the option to piss Preston off at you so badly that he wants you dead.
Exactly.
Far Harbor... I mean, it would have been great in Far Harbor. As much as Valentine is my favorite character, it would have been great in Far Harbor if the shit you did could have killed off Longfellow or Valentine.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that would have been great. Because it's something different. It changes the way you approach the DLC.
Like, even if I didn't do it, which I never would, you know, make that decision because I like Valentine too much, the idea of it being there is enough.
And it gives you a reason to play the game again. Because as it stands right now, like, Fallout 4 is so static that why would you ever play the game again when you could just keep playing the same fucking character until level infinity, because there's no level cap, which is another thing that needs to die.
Exactly.
You know, why even bother replaying the game when you can just keep playing as the same person over again? Because there's no role-playing, so there's no reason to replay the game. But if it's like your actions determine who is your companion at the end of the game, then that's a legitimate reason to go back and play it, because you want to hear those conversations, you want to see those scenes, you want to see the world change, even in small ways, because these are people you know, and your actions are now removing them from your life. That's not like a huge world changing, like the landscape of the universe has changed, but it's a personal thing for the player, because if the job is done right, you feel a sense of attachment to all of these people, God willing. And that way, when you have to make a decision that might piss somebody off, it feels like a decision.
Yeah.
You know? You feel like you're making a choice. It's Kaden or Ashley living in Mass Effect 1, you know? It's a thing. It's a moment people talk about. It's a thing that really affected the way people viewed Mass Effect. That was a conversation people have. Well, who did you save and why? You always want to ask people that. People always give an answer. People always have an answer for why you spared Ashley or you spared Caden, you know? I think that's really interesting. Like, they're really people, you know? You didn't like Ashley for one reason or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. You know? Yeah, it's all about making an emotional attachment to this character so that you actually feel something when you do something that affects them.
Yeah, and if the answer is like, here's this choice you have to make and it seems really easy, and then you make the choice and somebody you really gets angry about it, well then now you've got your character reconsidering their moralities, and that's great! Like, that is what you want in a story. You want it to be, you know, you want to have the opportunity to have this conversation with yourself. Like, is my morality more important than this character sticking around? You know? I think that's really cool. I think that's an actual good way to kind of make a video game work. And again, New Vegas already did it. Yeah. New Vegas already did it. Yeah. You could sell Arcade into slavery to Caesar. Veronica would leave you if you killed all of the Brotherhood. The list goes on. Yeah. Yeah, New Vegas did it years ago.
So that's more or less all the gameplay stuff I had.
Yeah.
For the most part, the game actually does play really well. Combat is great.
Yeah, combat is great. Combat is great. I think it's a little stale sometimes. I think the other thing I kind of like had in my mind, it would be really cool if you took in this new version of the game, if you like either took the Institute's outpost or if you sided with the Institute, you would have the opportunity to get like cool combat upgrades that would act as different perks, you know, like cybernetics and stuff, and it would kind of change the way the game played, and I think that'd be really fun. And it would kind of give it like a more dynamic feel, like a real sense of progression, but that's like not a huge thing, like it doesn't need it, but it would be cool, you know, like it'd be like a cool thing.
Yeah.
So, and again, it'd give you a motivation to take those outposts. Anyways.
Yeah, so the last thing is just like a few final points, mostly about the lore, and the biggest one I think is the only one that it really matters, and that is Kid in the Fridge.
Kid in the Fridge sucks. It needs to go.
Take it out. It's just remove it.
It's bad.
Either remove it or make it the joke that it should be.
Make it a joke quest. I think I wrote once on the Fallout subreddit that I think it would be really funny if it was a grift that the family has been running for like decades. It's like, you know, you hear this kid, he's stuck in a fridge. Oh my god, you go help him. Oh my god, it's a ghoul kid. He says he's been in there for 200 years, and then you and your companion kind of side-eye each other like, that sounds like bullshit. But then you can choose to believe him. And if you do choose to believe him, you can take him home with you, or, you know, you take him home and he's like, oh my god, my parents are still alive! And it's like this great moment, and then the parents are like, hey, why don't you brought our boy Billy back to us. Why don't you stay and have dinner? So then you stay and you have dinner, and then they fucking poison you, and you wake up in a raider camp, and you gotta, like, fight your way out, because it turns out this asshole ghoul kid has been running this grift for, like, 200 years. And, like, basically all of these people who fall for this shit just end up sold into slavery, and then they make caps.
It would be perfect, because, like, your character being a pre-war individual would not know what a ghoul actually is or what they're capable of, and apparently, according to Piper, like, you can recognize when someone is from a vault just by their body behavior, you know, their body language. And so and it would make sense if they would target you, because, you know, they would assume that you don't know anything.
And it would be funny if you brought, like, Hancock with you, right? Like, Hancock is your companion, and the kid is like, I've been in there for 200 years, and then Hancock is like, that sounds like bullshit. You do know that ghouls need to eat, right? And then, like, the kid would be like, no, I'm not lying, I don't know why, but bloody, bloody, blah. And then you could, like, call the kid out on it, and the quest would end, or maybe, like, some raiders would try to ambush you or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then, you could also just be a fucking idiot and just go along with it anyways, you know?
Yeah. If you brought, like, Dance or Curie, who Dance wouldn't know the details of a ghoul because he hates ghouls.
Right.
You know, he'd be like, oh, that makes sense, whatever. Why would that, blah, blah.
Yeah. And, you know, Curie would be like, how fascinating. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, you know. I mean, that's not exactly what Curie sounds like, but okay, I get your point. If you did bring someone like Hancock or someone who does know a bit more about the biology of ghouls, maybe Hancock's justification is, well, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah, he could totally, honestly, and it would just be a funny back and forth. Again, character building.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It could totally be like, Hancock is like, that's bullshit, ghouls do need to eat. And then your character is like, I don't know, I still believe him. And then Hancock is just like, really, dude? Really?
Hancock's doing that Dolan
yes!
post where it's like, that's bullshit, but I believe it.
And he's just kind of like, and he goes along with it because you're the boss, and, this is
Yeah.
stupid, but it might be funny, Yeah. And then when you wake up in the raider cages in this camp, there's Hancock across from you going, you are a fucking idiot. And that would be funny!
Yeah, you could turn this into the dumb joke that it is.
Exactly. And then, you fight your way out of the raider camp, and then one raider tells you, like, we've been running a scam with the Perkinses, all this, or whoever the fuck their names are.
Yeah.
We've been running a scam this whole time, please don't kill me. And then you can kill him or you can let him go, it doesn't fucking matter. And then you go back and you confront the fucking family, and they're all like, you can talk them down from trying to kill you, or, the kid could, the guy now, Bethesda doesn't want to kill kids. Fucking whatever, it's fine. So, like, maybe you just let the kid go, or you fuck up his grift, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't matter. But anything to make it, like, a little bit funnier, because, like, there's literally a raider camp, like, up the road from these people's houses.
Yeah.
So, like, why weren't... And, like, one of those raiders even talks to you, and is like, hey, sell this kid to me. Like, why not incorporate that more? Why not make it funnier? Why not make it be like... And, the kid is like, I've been running this scam for 200 years, and nobody's ever gotten away, or something. I don't know. Maybe it hasn't been that long. But something!
You could have made this, like...
Funny?
Anything besides, like, this weird, lore-shattering, like...
Yeah.
Whatever.
It makes no sense, because it makes no sense.
There are a lot of things that Fallout 4 does with the lore, and it's like...
That are stupid.
Okay, they're stupid, but it's like... Whatever. The game is constantly evolving, and things are going to be changed around so that, for storytelling purposes, and that...
Right.
For gameplay. It's like the idea of, like, Jet being a pre-war drug, but it's now a post-war drug, or whatever, and it's like...
Other way around.
Whatever. Yeah, the other way around. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. It's fine. But I get what you mean.
But it's like for one thing, it's like, okay, there are a few terminals that mention it. Okay, fine, that's fine. That's, they forgot that fact or whatever. This game has changed hands so many times. The franchise has changed hands that things like that might have been forgotten.
It just slipped under the radar. It's a little annoying, but it's not like universe breaking.
You can find Jet in pre-war vaults and stuff, or pre-war safes and stuff, and that's just because they have a random loot generator and it just put it there. Like, that's not a big deal. This, though, like, stuff like this, which is just so blatant.
It's super lore breaking, and, like, it's not even lore break. It doesn't even, like, break the lore for, like 3 in New Vegas. It breaks the lore for its own game, because ghoul settlers, like, in like the slog, they need food. Yeah. Yeah, the ghoul settlers in the fucking slog need food and water. So like this kid did too, like what the fuck? It is so like if like to me, I feel like if I told somebody who didn't know anything about Fallout about this quest, they would not believe me that it was real.
Yeah, even if they didn't know anything about ghouls, where like you just say there's this, I'm playing this game and there's a race of like it's post-apocalyptic game and like there's a race of people who were affected by radiation and they basically turn into walking zombies, and there's a kid who was in a fridge for 200 years.
And then the first words out of their mouth are, did that kid go insane from being stuck in a fridge for 200 years?
Yeah.
And then you go, no, and then that person goes, bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's stupid.
Yeah. And then you go, well, the kid is not dead, and his family hasn't gone anywhere for 200 years.
Yeah, they're still in the house. It's, like, up the road. They never thought to check.
Ever? And they're still living in the same bombed-out piece of shit house next to, like, gunners and raiders and stuff?
Yeah, and you'd be like, well, that's no matter how you slice it, this quest is fucking dumb.
It's fucking dumb. It's fucking dumb.
So make it dumber by having it be this funny thing.
Yeah, like this funny joke, stupid thing where your character acts like an idiot and is like, reprimanded for it by the game.
Yeah.
You believe this idiot kid, now you're in a raider camp, fight your way out.
And we've disparaged a lot about the idea of the idiot ball, and I don't mind the idiot ball if it's funny.
Yeah, the idiot ball can be funny at times, that's hilarious. The idea of it is really funny to me, where especially if you have somebody like Valentine or Hancock or Piper or like McCready who know about ghouls a lot.
Yeah.
Any one of them could be like, that's bullshit. This is bullshit. And then you could be like, no, it's fine. And then any one of them could just roll their eyes like, oh my god, I'm with an idiot.
And you can easily justify why they would go along with it.
They're
McCready or Hancock will think it's funny.
Right.
Valentine will be like, well, I want to, Valentine and Piper are like, well, this isn't true, but I want to see what's going on here because there might be something bad.
And they want to make sure you're okay because you're doing a stupid thing and they're going to stick with you to make sure you don't get killed by this stupid thing you're doing.
Piper can be like, all right, well, let me find out what's really going on here since you're going to get yourself hurt if I bail on you now.
Exactly. And Valentine would have the exact same reason,
Yeah, exactly. So that's all it is, that you can, and it's kind of indicative of everything else, where it's just you can fix this if you just take a little extra time and put a bit more effort into it.
Honestly, if all of these quests only take... I thought of that in 30 minutes one day.
Yeah.
I literally thought of how to fix the kid in the fridge thing, and I don't think it's great. It's not, perfect, but it's better than what we got, I think. And,
it's not going to be the greatest piece of work ever written, but it's better, and it makes more sense, and it would be something that would be talked about, and they'd be like, oh my god, I did Kid in the Fridge, and, Dance was there well, I believe this, and it was hilarious, because he's so serious, but he buys into this garbage.
Right.
They'd be talking about the dialogue options, or they'd be, it would be spoken of in a much higher regard. People might still think it's stupid, but they think it's funny stupid.
It's funny stupid. Yeah, exactly. It's a character building thing too. Is your sole survivor the kind of idiot who falls for a really simple grift like this? And it kind of speaks to the world they live in, where these ghouls are running this scam, and other idiots have fallen for it too. That's funny, that's the ghoul kid could be like, yeah, a ton of people have fallen for this before, and you're no different, And then you think, wow, Commonwealth Wastelanders are stupid, and that's funny, God, it's hard. Any of these quests, that's I finally thought of the third quest line that is actually kind of good in Fallout 4, and it still isn't great. It's the Silver Shroud quest line.
Yeah, totally.
But it's not great either, because it's just kind of another one of those go here, kill some dudes, clean out the place, But your character does a funny voice.
Your character does a funny voice, and they wear a fun outfit, and it's dumb and stupid and fun, and...
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And even then, in New Vegas, this would be bottom of the barrel quest, because it's so basic.
This would be in the sea of all the other quests that are on par with that.
But in Fallout 4, it stands out because it's got a little bit of personality, unlike every other fucking quest in Fallout 4. Because, damn, all of these quests... every quest in Fallout 4, if you put just the teeny tiniest bit more thought into it, another few hours worth of work... and a little bit extra coding and a few more lines, they'd be good. They would be serviceable. Some of them still probably wouldn't rise above, unless we got a new writer, they wouldn't rise above some of the stuff in, again, New Vegas or 2 and 1. 2 has a bunch of really good quests, and so does 1. I haven't actually played 2 and 1 yet, but I've been, watching LPs and stuff. They have a lot of really interesting quests, and they're not all solved by violence. Crazy, I know. But, yeah... a little extra thought in Fallout 4 would have been a pretty good Fallout game. As it stands right now, it's just a pretty good, wandering around game. But it's not Fallout.
you know?
Yeah. It's... At the end of the day, I still sank over 300 hours or whatever into it.
Yeah.
But it needs fixing. It needs a lot of fixing.
It needs a lot of fixing, yeah.
That's what... So...
Oh,
that's
and power
ultimately...
armor shouldn't be so common. I know, I'm trying to, wrap this shit up, but, I gotta get that off my chest, too. Power armor is way too common. I'll accept, because Bethesda wanted to add, a new power armor model, I'll accept that T60 kind of, was developed at the very, very... It exists and was developed at the very, 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 very end of civilization, right? It's stupid, but I'll, fine, whatever, it's fine. But what I can accept is, one, that, everybody in the fucking Brotherhood of Steel seems to have it, and, when it should just be, only Maxon and, maybe one or two others has T60, because it's super rare. And, power armor in Fallout 4 is so common that people build power armor garages, and they post them on the internet, where it's just hundreds and hundreds of pieces of power armor. And that's stupid. We all agree that's super stupid.
It should not be that frequently found throughout.
You should be able to find maybe 5 suits of full power armor tops in the entire game. That's it. And I hate to say, there's a mod that removed that, and it's pretty good. You shouldn't have to have modders do your job, but that's Bethesda's slogan is, don't worry, the modders will fix it. But yeah, power armor shouldn't be so common, and I am kind of cheesed off that Enclave power armor is, a pre-war thing now, because, the whole point of Fallout 2 was that these guys are, so foreign and so advanced, they have their own fucking power armor, and, it's, a scary thing, but... Mm-hmm. But that's just Bethesda Inc., so, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not cool with that change, because it kind of robs the Enclave in 2 of some of their scariness. If it had been, I don't know, fuck it, whatever, we've already talked for too long about it. But, I hate that, and I think Diamond City should be bigger.
Yes.
And there needs to be more towns. There needs to be, 6 towns in this game instead of, 2? 3?
And you should win things by watching.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, god damn it. Why are there not more towns in this game? God, that makes me so mad. There's only, what is it? It's, Good Neighbor and Diamond City? And,
because they expected you to build them, but that doesn't work out, because there's no character.
That's so fucking lazy. There's no character, and there's no quests in the goddamn towns, except for Radiant quests, and those suck. Yeah, so there needs to be more towns. And Diamond City needs to be bigger. A lot bigger. Apparently the lore is that Diamond City holds 1,000 people, and I don't fucking believe you.
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's not enough houses.
There's not enough houses, and it's so fucking run down and shitty. Why? No, fuck off, whatever. Yeah, that's about it, though.
Okay. Boy!
Oh, and stop relying on 200-year-old terminals and fucking, holotapes. No. 200 years is a long time. I don't think Bethesda realizes how long it's been. So stop fucking over-relying on the holotapes that are 200 years old and have never once been recorded over. Really? Really, Bethesda? Okay, now I'm good. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I'm good.
We talked a lot longer on this than I thought we would.
Yeah, me too, but I have a lot to say. Always.
Yes, but no, it's great. We can fix this. We can make it better. Stronger. We have the technology.
Except we don't, because we can't mod all this shit in, because it would require a bunch of fucking voice work and stuff. So we can't fix it. We just have to pray that Fallout 5 will be better.
Yep. Balls in your court, Bethesda.
They're gonna fuck it up.
They probably are. So, thank you to Visager for use of our background music.
Didn't we get new background music?
Not background music, that's still the same.
Okay, cool.
I'm always on the search for more, so if you do have good background music, you can also send that to us. If you want to talk to us more about Fallout 4, about how wrong we are, you can send it to thegorgepodcast.bsky.social.
Or tell us on Twitter.
or Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. Sarah, tell us about your other podcast.
Hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds. It's an LGBT live play RPG podcast. Basically, me and a bunch of really cool friends get together once a week. We play different types of tabletop RPGs. And we basically just have a gay old time. Get it? And it's a lot of fun. You should come check us out. We're on SoundCloud at Big Gay Nerds. We're on Twitter at BGNcast, I think. We're on Tumblr at Big Gay Nerds. And we're on Patreon at Big Gay Nerds. And, I know, right? And, we're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition right now. And it's always fun, because Dungeons & Dragons is fucking rad. So yeah, come check us out.
Yeah, so that'll do it for us. Yeah.
Fuck Kid in the Fridge! Yes! Synergy! We did it! We had a moment!
We did!
That was awesome, but really, fuck Kid in the Fridge.
Yeah, fuck Kid in the Fridge. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.